Honestly, when James Franco came out as Brother Dave was kind of overlooked for a while until he really started to bust out on his own and start making movies in which he was featured in a prominent and very noticeable role. Once that happened, there was no stopping the rise that he experienced as his career began to take off, and the attention he received continued to result in one role after another as he was finally seen as a real contender on screen. In fact, at this point he's just as famous as his brother in many ways and has started making a rather big impact in movies since he's taken on much more important parts in several movies and been seen to be a very astute actor. The mere fact that he hasn't had to really tweak his act all that much is great since it's worked for him throughout many films so far. Here are a few of his best films in his career to this point. Number 5. Nerve.
But the Watchers want me to team up with you.
When you sign online to play the game, you either do the dare that's given to you or you lose. The only problem is that a lot of what people want those online to do isn't always legal, and it's certainly not what a rational and thinking person would do, since it kind of defies a lot of logical and sound reasoning. In any case, two individuals are pushed into the game together when they become seen as one of the best couples to ever play the game, and as the dares continue to grow more bold and more dangerous, the stakes become even higher as both contestants are forced to find out just how far they'll go. Number 4. Disaster Artist.
Are you frantic? Are you frantic? Never touch bell wire in a thunderstorm!
If you've heard of The Room, the failed but somehow successful flop that was created by Tommy Wiseau, then you've also likely heard that it has become a cult classic, somehow, and has achieved more notoriety after its theatrical release. This film is more about the process of how The Room came to be and what went on during the filming, showing that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and that Tommy Wiseau was in fact very hard to work with. How much of it is true to fact and how much is just clever fiction is something that one would need to research, but overall it's an explanation for one of the worst films in history. Number 3. Neighbors.
I don't know, you're a good actor! What the fuck am I supposed to think?
The property values of a person's house can fluctuate with just about anything that happens in a neighborhood, but having a fraternity right next door doesn't seem like it would be the best idea for anyone trying to sell their home. Well, let's correct that by saying that having a loud, obnoxious, and disrespectful bunch of fraternity guys next door would not be a plus when trying to sell your home to another family. In truth, fraternities aren't all that bad until it comes time to party, and then some of them become a reenactment of Animal House in the modern era, as this almost did in some ways. Number 2. 21 Jump Street.
How do you ever expect to make any new friends with that attitude? It's like, everyone's a stranger till you give him a chance, man.
He seemed so cool and so smooth in this one right up until the big boys came to play. Then he turned into the weak-kneed little crybaby that didn't want to be there and was so out of his depth that it was like tossing a minnow into a tank with hungry sharks. It's amazing to watch how Dave can switch from laid-back, confident, and even arrogant to suddenly looking like he's ready to cry and possibly wet himself. Plus, the idea that his character is so compassed and ready to just condemn anything he doesn't agree with and then weeping over the fact that one of his friends is an undercover cop is kind of amusing. Number 1. Now You See Me.
You little shit.
You little shit.
What game you playing? What game you playing?
Jack is the guy that doesn't think he gets enough respect from the rest of the group, since in all honesty, he's kind of a low-level street thief when it comes down to it, but he's a good one. Throughout the film he does get the chance to prove his worth, since watching him take care of two grown men while trying to escape is very impressive, and the fact that he goes for a deck of cards over a fireplace poker and is still effective with them is kind of amazing. He does earn his respect from the group, and by the second film, he's definitely earned his spot as an equal since he has the skills and the know-how to get things done. There's no way to deny that Dave is now an established and very well-respected actor that has made a big impact in films throughout recent years. At this rate, if he keeps climbing, there's no doubt that he could possibly be as big or bigger than his brother James.